Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for joining me again to this session of the 25 series. As you see, there's a change of scenery. I want to recognize and I want to thank a friend of mine. It's called Benali, one of the best video and audio producers in Kenya, for deciding to helping me with this. And I'm really encouraged to know that I have a big support outside there. So without ado, let us start with your useless fact of the day. Do you know that peanut is one of the ingredients in making dynamite? I don't know what you'll use with that fact, but surely doesn't hurt to know. So if you're joining us today for the very first time, karibu. And the reason why I'm doing this 25 days of stories and poems is to go through this book. It is called Petals of Emotion, that I happen to be an author of. And if you want a copy of it, you can contact me and I will have it delivered to you. So today we're on day 12, people, and the poem of today is called Abba. So allow me to read. Like a stick stuck in the mud, Lord, your rain of mercy resuscitates me, and I breathe out with anger and despair soon when trapped on the bank of stagnation. Forgetting how many times you have saved me before, made a promise out of disparity that vanquished with the problem. Still, it does not matter to you. You still love me, lifting me out of my despair. My broken heart you repair. You color my dark nights, wipe my wet eyes. You feed my hungry tummy. You clothe my wicked tent. You forget my sins. Although with a lot of unfulfilled promise, you still answer my prayers. You tap my discouraged heart. You renew my joy. What more can I ask? You're a dad enough. And when I was writing this poem, I was actually exploring a problem that I was going through in life. And I was complaining to God how God was not coming through for me, how it seems like it's only my prayers that are not being answered. But then I realized, and I think something just told me, you've been in similar situations before, and God has come through for you. And it reminded of my heart, and I think the heart of so many people outside there, is that usually, as the poem tells us, when we are in a problem, we cry to God, we go to church, we do all these things that are very religious. But when the problems dissipate or it disappears, we actually forget about God. And sometimes we even make promises, because if you look at verse 1 to verse 3, it says, and like a stick stuck in the mud, Lord, your rain of mercy resuscitates me. So it's like an analogy of a stick. It is stuck in the mud and it can't be able to move, but God pours his rains and so that it actually frees you away. But then I actually forget God every time when that happens. And one thing that the poem reminds us is that despite that fact is that God still loves us. That no matter where, no matter how many times we come back to Him and cry to Him and then we forget, is that His love is constant. If there's anything that you need to remember, is that God's love is constant. And that's why the poem ends by saying that, God, you renew my joy, and what more can I ask? Because you're a dad enough for me. And if you've ever experienced the love of a parent or a guardian for some people who maybe they never had that privilege, is that your dad will always be your dad, no matter where you find yourself, no matter the situation, is that you can always run back to your dad, run back to him, and know that his love will always be there for you. And so it's a recognition that no matter the place that this poet finds himself, that God will always be there for him. So I don't know where you are in your situation right now, and maybe you're the one complaining to God right now, yeah, God, you're not doing this to me, blah, blah, blah. I just want to remind you that remember how many times He has come through for you before, and you'll understand that this is only a temporary issue. And so that's just an encouragement for you today. On to the story of today. I hope you're tucked in. I hope you're ready for this story of today. And today we're going to do a Roman folktale. It's called Androcles and the Lion. Probably it's a story that you've heard before, but let us join and do this. In Rome, there was once a poor slave whose name was Androcles. His master was a cruel man and so unkind to him that that at last Androcles ran away. He hid himself in a wildwood for many days, but there was no food to be found, and he grew so weak and sick that he thought he should die. So one day he crept into a cave and lay down, and soon he was fast asleep. After a while, a great noise woke him up. A lion had come into the cave and was roaring loudly. Androcles was very much afraid, for he felt sure that the beast would kill him. Soon, however, he saw that the lion was not angry, but he limped as though his foot was hurt. Then Androcles grew so bold that he took hold of the lion's lame paw to see what was the matter. The lion stood quite still and rubbed his head against the man's shoulder. He seemed to say, "I know that you'll help me." Androcles lifted the paw from the ground and saw that it was a long, sharp thorn which hurt the lion so much. He took the end of the thorn in his finger, then he gave a strong, quick pull. Out it came. The lion was full of joy. He jumped like a dog and licked the hands and feet of his new friend. Androcles was not at all afraid after this, and when the night came, he and the lion lay down, slept side by side. For a long time, the lion brought food to Androcles every day, and the two became such good friends that Androcles found his new life a very happy one. One day, some soldiers who were passing through the wood found Androcles and in the cave. They knew who he was and so took him back to Rome. It was the law at the time that every slave who ran away from his master should be made to fight a hungry lion. So a fierce lion was shut up for a while without food, and a time was set for the fight. When the day came, thousands of the people crowded to see the sport. They went to such places at that time very much as people nowadays go to see circus or a game of football. The door opened and poor Androcles walked and was brought in. He was almost dead with fear, for the roars of the lion could already be heard. He looked up and saw that there was no pity in the thousands of faces around him. Then the hungry lion rushed in with a single bound. He reached the poor slave. Androcles gave a great cry, not of fear, but of gladness. It was his old friend, the lion of the cave. The people who had expected to see the man killed by the lion were filled with wonder. They saw that Androcles put his arm around the lion's neck, and they saw the lion lie down at his feet and lick them lovingly. They saw the great beast rub his head against the slave face as though he wanted to be petted, and they could not understand what it all meant. After a while, they asked Androcles to tell them about it. So he stood up before them and with his arm around the lion's neck told how he and the beast had lived together in the cave. "I am a man," he said, "but no man has ever befriended me. This poor lion alone has been kind to me, and we love each other as brothers. The people were not so bad that they could be cruel to the poor slaves now. Live and be free," they cried. "Live and be free." And that is the story of today. I don't know what themes you're picking from the story, but I think it's very relevant, especially for us people here in Kenya, how we are divided between tribes. It seems like the other tribe is a beast. It's a lion that's supposed to devour you. But at the end of the day, as long as we recognize that we need each other, that when you have a thorn in your flesh, it's the other brother who he's a Luo, he's a Kikuyu that can help you. And in that way, it actually taught the lesson to these Romans that they don't have to hate the slave or degrade them. We are all equal and we can continue to love one another. So tell me what you think about the story of today, and you can continue supporting me. So the verse of today comes from Psalms 121, and it is in view of what we've the poem of today. It says, "I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth." I hope that is your prayers. Have a lovely night and see you tomorrow.